I'm going to make this real easy for you. You are human. Humans by nature do not work well with money. It's not a part of our hardwiring. We like chasing the fun stuff. We like staying alive. We like passing on the gene. We're wired to do that over eons of time, and we're very, very good at it. However, we are susceptible to that natural behavior in the wrong environment will make us very susceptible to the sales pitch, and that's how you ended up with matching cruise wear from your last cruise at a very high price that looked great in the Bahamas, but not so much in Boston. You have to get your head around that piece. Money temperament, it's who you are. So my challenge to you is understand that success with money and wealth creation is incredibly simple in concept, but it takes deliberate effort on your part to make it work. Remember, success for money is about knowing and understand your behavior and managing. Know your money temperament, manage your behavior, then your money. That's the secret. And unfortunately, nobody's talking about it. So, I am Ted McLyman, author of the new book, Confessions of Reform Financial Advisor. And I think after this diatribe, you understand that I believe a lot of it is, in fact, BS. Don't fall for the BS. Make sure you're doing something for you that is going to work for you and your family, and it revolves around who you are and what you think is important. Best of luck. Join me at tedmcclyman.com. Grab the book. Let's build a relationship so I can help you choose better and spend better. Thank you.
Hello, my beautiful viewers. How are you feeling? I am so excited. Today we've got an amazing author, and I've got my beautiful co-host here as well. So we are truly so excited to have Ted here. My beautiful Ted, thank you for being our spotlight author for today. So I am going to ask you to introduce yourself, and I will be asking you for your first question, and then I will be giving over to Christoph first, and then to Laura, and then to Gail. So they will introduce themselves, and then they will ask the next question. Are you ready for us, my beautiful Ted?
I am ready.
Well, my beautiful Ted, I met you almost 2 years ago, and I cannot even remember how you came into my life. And you are such an incredible, amazing wisdom keeper. I call you a wisdom keeper. And the way that you were talking about going into a shopping and buying milk and ending up with a full trolley, that was truly remarkable. I am so excited that you are going to be our author, spotlight author today. Please, may I ask you to introduce yourself? And then after that, can you tell us why did you decided, and if you can showcase your book cover, to do your book cover, please. And then it's all over to Christoph.
Oh, well, so it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor. And I record this because my wife does not believe these accolades. So we've got to get that right out front. I have to reinforce that every now and then, particularly when we're going to the store and doing crazy things. But I have a broad experience working with people and money. I've done it my entire life. And the foundation is, number one, money is the oil or the energy that makes every economy in the world works. We can't get without it. Unfortunately, most of us do it wrong, and it's not our fault. We're encumbered by eons of biology and evolution, and it gets muddled in our modern economy. I started seeing this as a young lieutenant in the Marine Corps, watching myself and my Marines doing crazy things with money. And when I retired, became a financial advisor, watched my clients do crazy things with money. But more importantly, I learned that the industry was kind of fibbing to us. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I've got my fourth book out. It's in final review right now. It will be available for pre-sale probably at the end of the month. If you go to my website, tedmclyman.com, you can sign up, join my email list, and I'll fire you out an email as soon as it's ready with some discounts. And for the first week or so, there are going to be some very, very good promotions to get either the paperback or the ebook. So the only other thing I'll add is a retired Marine Corps officer. No crayons were consumed or used in writing in this book.
That is so awesome. That's great, Ted. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Most viewers know me, but in case you don't know me, my name is Krista. I'm from Canada, and we just celebrated actually Canada's birthday. So I have to start off by saying that I'm Amazon #1 best-selling author, and this is my thing. My book title is called Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure, but it's my tagline, and here it is. It's cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love, because most of us are just holding on to the crap and we're not going forward. So I'm an international speaker, energy worker, nutritionist, obviously author, TV co-host, and I'm just really thrilled to be here. That's known as an Earth Angel. I was given that title because I'm put in people's lives right at the time that they need it most, to kind of be that voice amplifier to offer them some inspiration and hope. But, and that's one of the things that I got out of your book, because when I was done your book, it was like, wow, my eyes opened to this whole different side of money that, I used to see money a certain way, and now I see it a different way. But I'm going to start off with my first question. And I love in the introduction, first of all, when you went into the store and just describes going to the store and you walk in and I'm only going to buy one thing, right? I'm only going to buy one thing. And then you see all these sales, going around, and it's like, oh my goodness, maybe I need this one and this one and this one because all this stuff. And then you walk out. Now you do talk a little bit about that. And it is funny because it's true. I do go in and I see all these sales and I go in, this is my budget. I'm going to spend this. And then, you see these sales, but I'm going to kind of challenge you on this. Isn't it good to maybe take advantage of the sales? Because maybe in the long run, are you saving money, or do you think it's just kind of impulse?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great question. Well, what you just said is our ability to rationalize anything. So that's what makes us human. So that's one of the things we do quite often. And the answer to that is maybe. The challenge we have is in our modern economy, marketeers are so good at pinging at our primitive brain, at our emotions, and getting us fired up to spend money. We know that just the decision to go to the store, non-consciously, it gives us permission to spend. We also know that stores have a habit of moving things around. We also know that the things that are probably least expensive, but we probably need the most, i.e. milk and bread, are going to be in the back of the store. So regardless, you're going to walk through Meador, scavenger hunt, exploring for what you really wanted. Along the way, you're going to be overcome by sights and sounds and smells. And you didn't know you needed to taste Atlantic salmon, fresh from Nova Scotia, until you walked past it and there's a person handing out samples, and you not only bought one, but you bought two. What I'm saying, yes, it's okay to spend money. Yes, it's okay to spend on sales. Some are legitimate, and if you do it correctly, which means you understand your money temperament, you know how you act and think, you're going to do it because you need it, not necessarily because you want it. Does that help?
That is absolutely a perfect answer, because when I was thinking back about the last time I was shopping, and it's true, I walked out with way more than I thought. And it is because they switched around the layout. I knew exactly where I go, third shelf down, and then it was all different. So while I was looking around, I found more things that I probably rationalized. So thank you for bringing that up, especially to our viewers, because that's one perspective I don't think I know for myself I would have looked at. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a foundational human trait. And I talk about that at length in the book. And that's what got me frustrated before I got started, because nobody talks about this stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Hi, Ted.
Hi.
So we'll always talk about our spotlight authors. And of course, we want everyone to just devour these books. Your writing style around temperament and behavioral energy is right up my alley. So I'm the #1 international best-selling author of The Science of Empowerment. And really at our foundation, we study and research and coach and speak around the globe on mindset. And money is such an emotional connection. And the average person never thinks about it as a love affair or a really bad relationship that you have to get out of. There's so much in your book around the behavioral aspect of why we do what we do. So I just wanted to express that out to the listening audience. It really is an educational book for how we perceive money and what it can or cannot do for us in a positive way. Something that you talk about that's very, I think, a strong point, and it is in all styles of coaching, is values. And I've noticed that a lot of people have never learned to value money. It's always just an immediate gratification exchange, or it's the means to an end, or it's around survivalship. So can you just express maybe to the listeners, for those that have never learned the concept, let alone the mastery of how to value money, maybe what's just something around there in that wisdom-filled brain, as Sanet said, that might be able to activate somebody to start to value money?
Thank you. Laura, one of the reasons I wrote this book is to help bridge the gap between the traditional coaching and behavioral side and the money side. I've grown up in both. I've been coached all my life, professionally as an athlete. And when I became a financial advisor, I was very much taken back how little they care about the people side, the behavioral side. It's all very analytical. And good, bad, or indifferent, folks that tend to be analytical, numbers people, tend to gravitate to this. So you've got this covey of folks that think and act the same, and non-consciously they assume everybody's just like them. Well, after a couple of years of working with hundreds of people as a traditional financial advisor, doing what they told me to do, which was do this, be like them, I was very successful. What I found out, I really wasn't helping people. What I was doing, I was a high-paid sales guy. And once I really figured that out, I got very, very frustrated, then went on my own and built my own behavioral firm. So to get back to your question, we accept behavior in every aspect of our lives, in every aspect of our culture, in every aspect of society, except money. We have a health coach. We have a wellness coach. We have a diet coach. We have a physical trainer. We have somebody that does this and does that. We read about it. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry about identifying behavior, natural behavioral emotions, your relationship with things. And I love talking with people who are in your industry until I bring up money. Yeah. And I often ask coaches when they're doing life, who do you talk about money? And you watch the blood drained out of their body. They go, why? I can't talk about money. Oh my gosh, I'll go to jail. I don't know anything about it. That's not my thing. Well, and then on the other side, talking to financial guys, they go, I can't talk about behavior. My gosh, they might actually crack a smile. I might actually build a relationship. I might whatever. So after a couple of years, I became incredibly frustrated that there's this huge schism between the two. And it was like, well, I'll go back to, I was teaching economics at the Naval Academy. At the Naval Academy, I was working with some of the brightest young minds in the United States. Some of these kids are just scary brilliant in the classroom, but they were failing at life. They could regurgitate everything I gave them in an economics class, but put themselves in a position 2 years after they graduate of losing a commission because of bad money choices. And it was tragic, but we had to fix it. As I went to different conferences and sales meetings, I go to the money side, it was all analytical, incredibly analytical. I mean, the point where I've got a story in my book where I'm banging my head on the table because, you know, two very smart people got in an argument in a foreign language and we're supposed to understand it and get excited about their stuff. I just hurt my forehead. On the other hand, I speak at behavioral things. I was a triathlete for a number of years, and that's all about behavior. Everybody thinks triathleting is about being physical fitness. That's only 3 elements. The other are mindset and nutrition. Yeah. I'd rather have a good mindset and good nutrition. The rest of it's pretty darn easy. So what I'm saying here, and I'm kind of rambling a bit, values underline everything of who we are. Values are the foundation of our behavior. They're a function of where we grew up, how we grew up, our peer group. By mid-adolescence, we are pretty much established. Now, the scary point, particularly on the money side, think back where you were in 7th or 8th grade, what you wore, what you found was important. Well, those behaviors and those values are still hidden someplace in your brain, and they do impact you when you go through the store. Now, it might not be an 80s type haircut, but it might be something different that's popular now. All I'm trying to say, and as a financial advisor, all we talked about was goals. Here's the difference, and I think this is critical for your listeners. Values drive you. Values give you meaning. Values are the essence of who you are and all things all the time. Goals are stuff. Goals are points. They're measurement. They're markers. In the financial industry, we tend to talk about goals because goals are easy. They're tangible. Want a new house? Give me a couple of variables. I'll figure out how to do it. You want to retire on a beach someplace? Pick the beach. I'll get you there. But what is the value? And when you're talking about values, if you really want to know your true values, your default values, which drive everything you do, take a look at your bank statement and look at your calendar. Where you spend most of your time, where you spend most of your money, those are your values. And as I say in the book, where there's a disconnect, where you say, I want to change the world and support an orphanage, you know, someplace in Western Canada, but you spend your time eating out, playing golf, I don't care where it is, that's a very, very different value set. I'm not saying one's right or wrong. As long as it's moral and legal, I don't really care. I can help you get both, but you better figure it out. Because at some point, it's going to cause a tremendous disconnect.
I love that. Thank you. I knew this question would stimulate, again, the wisdom and the education that you have, because this book, that's what I think is really powerful. It really, and my fam here knows, I really love this because it empowers the reader. It really does begin to ignite these new perspectives and expand how you look at money and think about money. So many people want to say one thing and yet they do another. And I think you do a beautiful job bridging that. And thank you for the service, Semper Fi. My father's a Marine too. So
hey, there you go.
Love that.
And he understands crayons. Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
I love it, Simplify. So, hey, Ted, I'm Gail. First, I want to read some of the things that Christina put down. She gave you sunglasses, and then she said, but it was on sale.
Yes.
And then I love that behavior firm. Thank you. And then sunglasses again. So you're really impressing Christiana. Thank you, Christiana, for joining us. So I'm Gail Kraft. I am an author, a speaker. I'm an empowerment master. I help people go through the valley of the shadow of death. I help them deal with the really tough stuff in their life. And I found your book rather interesting for a bunch of different reasons than the others. First of all, I had a minor in economics, almost was my major. I taught economics as a CPCU certification module. I'm an NLP master, so I understand how the mind works. I crewed for Peak Potential's Secret of Millionaire Mind from T. Harv Eker. So I'm reading your book and I'm going, yup, no kidding, yup. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
So we were definitely in sync in reading your book. So I'm going to go to your title.
Yes.
Because for me, when I say I am a reformed project manager, it means that sometimes I slip. So
Yeah.
talk to me about why you picked that title, Reformed Financial Advisor. I was fascinated with that.
Well, this is a great question, Gail, and I really appreciate it because it really goes down to the essence why this book. This is my fourth book in the same genre, if you will. And I'll be very candid. Most of them are a little academic and nobody cares. I also know that I was reformed. I made the transition from, I worked with two major financial planning firms. I had all the licenses. Basically, I got all the education. I did what they told me. I got all the licenses. I watched what the successful people did and I mimicked them. I became very successful and I was not rewarded. I was not refined in any way. What I found is I was misled. I would thought I was in the business of helping people with their money. I wasn't. Managing money is a subset of the financial industry. Mm-hmm. And we're dealing with commodities now. It's all the same stuff. I learned that my job was to manage behavior, to manage emotions. And once I bridged that gap and realized that my job was to look into people's hearts and souls and minds and get them to open up and realize that product and service is irrelevant if your head is not screwed on right, you're not heading in the right direction with the right values, and you are not consistent and true to yourself. So the title of the book is Confessions of a Reformed. I'm as reformed as it gets. I am so reformed that I sold my firm and do this full time now.
Wow.
The underlying piece is, and this is poking everybody in the eye a little bit, yeah, it's mostly BS. It really is. I would say 90 to 90% of what you hear in the financial planning industry is BS for one simple reason. It's generally a cookie cutter, one size fits all approach based on products and services, based on goals. I am very different than all of you. You are different than me. All of you are in professions that deal about the individual, an individual path to meaning, an individual path to success and sustainment. Why don't we do that with money? It is just common sense, but we don't do that. As a financial advisor, I realized I got so good at this, I could talk to somebody on the phone, and after 15 minutes, I had their entire plan in my head. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew the product I was going to put them in, and it was product driven. And there was an incident in the book that I talk about that I was working with a widow or a widow's family, and the gentleman had passed away, and the wife or the widow was convinced that she was well taken care of. Mm-hmm. She wasn't. In a matter of seconds, he went from the dearly departed to the dead fill in the blank. That got my attention. Somebody let this family down. Yeah, greatly. So I realized that we have to start looking at this differently. Again, if I'm going to teach you how to drive, I could give you 4 YouTube videos. I could give you an engineering manual. I could test you on the viscosity of oil and the physics of gasoline. You could ace it and say, okay, go drive. You'd never get out of the parking lot. Or I could sit down and say, there's an automobile out there. We think there's an engine up front. Don't know how it works, but we're going to focus on the behavior. How are you under stress? You right-handed or left-handed? How's your vision? Do you like to talk when you're driving? Do you carry a phone? Who would you prefer to drive with? The person who's the engineer, they can't get out of the driveway, or a person who's an expert at managing their behavior and tempering their emotions in times of stress and in different circumstances. That's what I'm saying about money. Money's not complicated. It is, again, the fuel that makes everything happen. And I talk about the book about what money is. The story I like the best in the book is, for thousands and thousands of years, we use barter. Barter is still acceptable. Go to a garage sale, go to a swap meet. You go to a lot of different countries. Barter is a big deal, but barter is not efficient. It may be effective, but it's not efficient. So in the story, I talk about, let's assume you're growing up on a subsistence farm. And I'll go to Nova Scotia again because I like it over there in the summer, not so much in the winter. But you grow about 95% of what you need, but you want a cup of coffee. So you go down to the local coffee shop, you grab one of your prized chickens on the way out, order a $15 cup of coffee, which is a one-time emotional reward. Just don't do it every day. And you go to pay and you plop the chicken down, and the clerk goes, whoa, what am I going to do with that thing? And you go, I want change. Well, there's where the efficiency kind of falls apart. Making change with a live chicken in front of everybody else is just really, really messy. The chicken doesn't like it at all, and it really screws up egg production. So all I'm saying is we have money to make things easy.
Yeah.
The flip side for that is we now have digital money that makes it really easy.
Real easy and real easy to fall into a trap. I'll tell you, one of the things Harv's basic tenet was in training was, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Absolutely.
Take a look at how you manage money. Take a look at how you're managing your life. Take a look at how you're managing your business. Take a look at how you're managing your relationships. It's all the same emotional problem.
That's a huge insight. And again, this is the crossover we're not seeing on the financial side. If this was a weekly conference with financial advisors talking about money, we'd be talking about alpha and beta and this and that and trends, prices. Nobody cares. It really doesn't matter. We know now that 95 to 99% of all spending decisions, be it for a cup of coffee or a house, are emotional, automatic, and non-conscious.
Yeah.
You actually bought that house for X number of dollars when you saw the picture and read the description. When you decide to go spend, which is mean you go shopping, you're priming yourself with our Western culture because this is the way we do it. You notice we in this down in the United States, we go through the right door and go right. We also drive on the right side. If you're in London, you go through the left door, walk on the left side. That's a cultural thing, but it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. What we have to understand is your money temperament is what I'm talking about, is just how you're naturally wired to think and feel about money. And it's as natural as breathing. It's as natural.
And it takes effort. It takes effort to change that. Sanet, you have a question.
And the big question, and this is where I had the falling out in the traditional industry. We spent an inordinate amount of time how to try change people from where they were to where we thought they should be. Basically, we're trying to make everybody mini-me's. First thing we did is we didn't ask you if you want to do a budget. We didn't ask you if you've ever done a budget. We didn't ask you if you'd like to do a budget. We just gave you a budget. Because I actually read the footnotes on prospectuses and knew how to do the spreadsheet, so I'm comfortable with that. But I'm talking to somebody that's never balanced a checkbook. Okay, and I'm going to ask them with a 50-page budget in 8-point font to keep detailed notes of everything they do with money for the next number of weeks. You're going to fall apart. It's not going to happen. So what I'm saying is, to make this work, number one, you have to answer the question, what's important about money to me? That's your value discussion. And it starts there. And it's usually not stuff that's usually very deep emotional things, family, legacy, making a difference, equity, it's all those important things. It's humanity. Okay. And your piece of humanity, the way you define it, the way you want to go, that's your value set. Okay. And as long as it corresponds, to the general culture you're in, you're going to be okay. But we meander and get off track there. Then I need to factor in money temperament. Money temperament is nothing more, and I've got an exercise in the book that you can kind of figure it out, but we've developed some pretty detailed profiles on this. I don't care if you're a spender or saver. It doesn't matter, but you need to know. We have this mindset, this mantra that everybody has to be a saver. You have to do very regimented, 5, 10, 15, 20%. You have to do it. Well, what happens if you're not wired to do that? What happens if you don't want to do that? I'm not saying gives you permission not to do it. I'm saying you have to do it the way it works for you. So all I'm saying with money temperament, identify who you are, accept it, embrace it, then build a program around that works for you. One size fits you. The next thing I talk about is, how do you like to process information? Learning style. I call it money learning style. We get too fixated on money, the technical aspects of money, financial literacy and economics and all that stuff. You got a checkbook, it works. Okay, fine. What I'm talking about is, in a consequential spending environment, you've got to be able to move from a buying mindset, from a being sold to mindset to a buying mindset. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because when you go in the store, you're overpowered by all the senses and you're being manipulated and primed to spend money. Now you're going to go in and sign a contract, and you better move from, I call it your feeling brain to your thinking brain, to get very analytical for a minute. Now, we don't like that because it hurts. It takes a lot of energy. Our brains want to get out of that space as quickly as possible and go back and do the shiny stuff, which we enjoy. So how do you process information? Are you visual, auditory, tactile? And you need to make sure that you're embracing the situation in a way that works for you. And if it's not working for you, you'll be disciplined enough to get up and leave.
Yes. So Ted, I'm so sorry. You have also answered some of mostly that what I wanted to ask, but I just want to quickly come in here. Beautiful Christiana said, I remember seeing Ted in one of the Power Hour shows, and I remember him saying, does your lifestyle match your values? I love that. So my question that I had was, if somebody watching today has always been overwhelmed or afraid to even look at finances, what is the first thing they should do to shift into awareness and their environment? If you can help us with that question.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to go back to how schizophrenic we are as a culture. Again, we got the finance people over here and everybody else in the world over here. All of you are professionals in teaching people to get to know themselves, to embrace themselves, to amplify what they're good at, compensate what they're bad for, delegate, all those kind of good things, to be not only a good citizen, but a great human being. Money, we don't seem to talk about that. We talk about, did you add it all up? Did you do this, that, and the other thing? So what I'm saying, this is why this is so important. If you're in a relationship, there's a 66% chance that the person you're in a relationship with has a very different money temperament than you do. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's what it is. So the first thing you have to do, and I purposely wrote this book. It's short. It's about 100 and 110 pages. It's written like a blog. It's not technical, and it's to help you crawl into the back of your mind and take a look at that money thing that's going on and not be repulsed, but embrace it. But it starts first by saying, this is who I am. I'm a spender. I don't like risk. I'm comfortable having somebody do stuff for me. But if you're being told by everybody around you that risk is irrelevant, that you need to be a saver and you can do it yourself, you got this ongoing conflict. And technology amplifies the problem. Back in the day, you had a nuclear family where most everybody could walk between houses to get this life guidance that is missing today. That imprinting at a young age established a very strong value set that was reinforced continually, often through your entire life, because it was an effort to go 30 miles outside of town.
Yeah. Thank you, Ted. So there is some questions that the ladies still have to ask. So Krista, if I can give over to you, my beautiful one.
Absolutely. I'm going to say a little bit of what Christina also said in our messages, who's watching live. If someone watching today has always been overwhelmed or afraid to even look at their finances, what is the very first thing they should do to shift awareness and empowerment? So there's a question from one of the viewers right now.
Good question.
And I will say, a lot of the things you said were just right on point, and a lot of my questions. And I before you answer that, I have to say that not only was a book in line, meeting you, and that's why we have the authors on, is because we want to see the author behind the book. And I love that it was a short, quick, easy read. And I really, really want to, suggest everybody go pick this up. It's a perfect, I know who I'm going to give one to. But when you're talking about the widow, I was a young widow as well. We didn't have mortgage insurance, so it was one of those surprising things. I love when you said about mindset nutrition. So I definitely am all about mindset and mastering your mindset, and I'm a nutritionist. So there we go. As a person, we are so aligned. Well, I'll let you go and ask or answer this question about what's the very first thing they should do to shift their awareness and empowerment.
You've already done it. You've already identified that you need to do it.
Yeah, nice.
Perfect.
That is a incredibly big step.
Yeah.
So the first thing is grappling with the construct that you're going, yeah, I need to change a little bit. What I'm doing is not sustainable. That is huge. Next thing is go to tedmclyman.com. The website is up and running, and you'll understand on the website, the principles I'm talking about. And there's a mailing list I'm putting together where I'm going to notify everybody when the book is out, and I want to get this out there. I wrote this book specifically for the people that are probably on this show right now going, where you been? Because more often than not, when I work with clients with this process, it's called the money behavior system, I would get, where have you been all my life? How come I've never heard of this? How come nobody's doing this? Well, it's easy. Nobody's doing this. I'm the first 3 steps in a 7-step financial planning process, and most firms start with step 4 and 5. Generally, they go right to 5, which is goal setting. So you're not going to get this most places, or you're going to get it from a perspective that somebody that has not done what I've done professionally, that understands the industry. Okay. Yeah. I also wanted to write a book for somebody that would never buy a book about money, but should.
Yeah.
And it's the book you should have read in school, but didn't. Yeah. I found it fascinating. I graduated from a really good school in upstate New York that's noted for snow and hockey, Colgate University. And I had to demonstrate that I could swim 25 yards to graduate. Now, there's a life skill for you. Next time I fall in a pool for 25 yards, I'm good to go. They never talked about money. They never talked about personal finance. They just assumed that I'm going to figure it out. And that is the mantra we're hearing most of the time. Hey, just go figure it out. You got plenty of time. Well, it was easy when we only had 3 products and it was, carbon paper, and it was pretty darn simple. Today, I can do more on my watch to get myself in trouble with money than I could 5 years ago with a whole team of people helping me.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do? I think to keep this as simple as possible, understand you're human. You're unique. There's nobody like you. You're the culmination of millions of years of evolution and growth. And your evolution of growth was really there to do two things: keep you alive and pass on your genes. Everything else is kind of secondary. Unfortunately, the genes that are keeping you alive were designed to tell you non-consciously not to walk into a cave at night that's dark carrying a torch because you're going to be dinner for somebody in the morning. Okay? We didn't have money's only, so our brains are millions of years old biologically. Money's been around about 5,000 years. So there's a bit of a disconnect. Okay? First coin money was coming up in Turkey, about 3000 BC, give or take. And we've muddled through that process quite nicely until really the Industrial Revolution, when things really started going at warp speed. But it was in the 60s when we really got into the technical side that we really discovered that our brains are incapable of dealing with the dynamics of the modern economy and merchandising and retailing and selling stuff.
Yeah.
Once you understand that, it's okay to go, let's stop for a minute. Let's step back. Do I really need the Everest approved mountain coat at Costco that's on sale because there are only 6 left when I live in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I didn't need it in December. I'm not going to use it next year either.
Or it'll expire and go flat. You know, one of the things I just want to mention is when you said about the swimming. I thought about this, like when I was reading this, I'm like, this needs to be a textbook or whatever in schools.
Yes.
Really, why aren't we teaching our children this? And it comes down to it. Where did I learn about money? From my parents. Where did they learn about it? From their parents. Where does everyone learn about it? Maybe then you get friends' influences and everybody else's. So I really think this would be perfect opportunity for any school teacher out there watching. Get this book and bring it into the class and have that discussion. That not only is swimming important because we don't want you to drown, but money, I think, is a little bit higher up on the scale. But I'm just going to pass this to Gail because I know there's still a ton of questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. So much is going through my mind. I really don't know where to go next with this because it's just nuts. But the whole, I want to get back to the money mindset, or the mindset to begin with, right? Mindset is everything. And my experience as a coach, and I'm not afraid, by the way, to go through to money with folks. In fact, I will be happy to, right? So many people are afraid to even admit that they're afraid that they don't understand money. And so that fear can be overwhelming. What do you do when you have a client who comes to you because they know they need financial advice, but they don't really want to talk about how ignorant they are? And they don't want to talk about their history. It's really a problem. So what are some of the things that you deal with there?
Yeah, that's a cultural thing. As traveling around the world, I've lived in a number of different cultures and watched everybody spend money differently, but the same way. We're all human. Regardless of where you grew up, you're going to do the human things first. You have to take it back. When I always start with the discussion that we're going to talk about money very differently than you've ever talked about it before, because we're not going to talk about money. We're going to start with just an NLP, neuro-linguistic chunking technique of just saying, let's just take a few minutes. What is important about money to you? And we walk through that to start unraveling their emotional, non-conscious triggers that put them into position to do things. And when you start going through that without judging, just taking note, you're going to find that there's probably something in their behavioral background that triggered something. Maybe they were, you can be just as dysfunctional as a hyper saver as a hyper spender. That imprints also. You may find that peer group influence. You're going to see if you've got young children, when they get between 10 and 14, maybe 15, the behavior starts changing. Peer group becomes more important than the family in a lot of respects. Peer group influence is huge because as humans, we're herders. We like being in a group and we want to be accepted. So if you're in a group, the movie I can think of is Mean Girls, and some of those is, the terrible metaphor, but it's good. To be part of this group, you've got to do these things. So you have to be able to take care of that. And it takes a sense of maturity. And this can happen anytime in your life, okay? That of truly discovering who you are and what the triggers are. Once you understand those, and then you understand what the true value is, I can get you from point A to point B. But if we're just chasing stuff, that's a meaningless exercise, in my opinion. So you've got to
stuff
sit
is
down.
just an illusion. Stuff is just, and money is just an illusion.
Yeah.
It's just an illusion. I do want to make one point that you touched on lightly, and it's so important, and that is the money hoarder. One of the things in the HARV process is so much money, a percentage every month for play, and you have to spend the play money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a story they tell, and it's a true story, of a woman who had 2 cents. So she bought bubble gum, blue bubbles, and read the comics. And she vowed to double her play money, not double her income, double her play money. There's a mindset right there. So now we're talking 4 cents. Then we're talking 8 cents. And then we're talking, and so we all understand the compounding of doubling. The woman's a millionaire, by the way, now, right? But her focus was not on making money. Her focus was on, I want to play more.
Yeah, right? And that's a value decision.
Yeah. Right.
That is
a very valuable
decision.
Yep.
That's the value she's moving toward. And we it's so easy in our society. I feel uncomfortable and almost sorry for the Gen Z right now. Talk about a conflicted group of people potentially being pulled in a lot of different directions. I mean, you think about it, with technology, I can be introduced to a Korean boy band that doesn't speak English, that I think my granddaughter thinks she needs to have tickets to, so she can buy a t-shirt at $100 to wear once, and that's life. Okay.
Yeah.
And she will emotionally fall apart if it doesn't happen.
Ted, it's time for the lightning round. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to hand this over to the ladies. Go ahead, Laura.
All right, Krista, you have 3?
Yeah, I have 3.
Okay, so Ted, I'm going to give you one word at a time and just give like 1 or 2 word answers, okay?
Gotcha.
This is all energy for the listening audience and for us too. All right, first word is behaviors.
What we do every day.
Beautiful. Second word, systems.
Systems. Could be a fence or a ladder.
Oh, yes. And my third is self-mastery.
The meaning of life.
Oh, beautiful. Miss Krista?
Oh, that was fantastic. So one of those words were mine. So now I'm glad I wrote a couple extra. So first of all, first word is emotions.
Human.
Oh, that's perfect. Action.
You got to make it happen.
Oh, that's really good. And my last word is time.
Time?
Time.
Not enough.
Perfect. Love it.
I love the speed round.
Yeah.
I love the answer to systems, a fence
Yeah.
or a ladder. That's got so much depth to it. I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So
And
fantastic.
where I came up with time is when, especially this was my aha moment when you said where we spend the time is where, where's our value. So that was just like an boom, an amazing, thought process. So thank you. That was fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank
love
you,
that.
Ted. I love it. I love it. So for me, I wanted to ask you, how are you feeling at this moment, my beautiful Ted?
I love this stuff. And my existence has to be through folks like you. And let me explain. I am fighting an uphill battle against the conventional wisdom about how we work with money. What I learned as a financial advisor, when things are going well, everybody's a genius. When things are going badly economically, it's somebody else's fault. If I had a